And I just heard a whole bunch of just arguing going on, and then two shots, boom, boom, out of nowhere, and it caught me by surprise because things like this don't usually happen over here. So,
great name, bro, Aaron Goat. But you a bold-faced liar, bro. You a bold-faced liar. Stuff like that happens all the time in these communities. I mean, all the time. Basketball courts. Now, I could say that, maybe at this court there hasn't been an incident like that in some time or whatever, but at a basketball court and somewhere in this city, every week or every month is going to be a shooting. Period. And that's all across from sea to shine to sea. From San Diego to Maine, from Miami to Seattle, from Fargo to El Paso. Okay?
I just heard a whole bunch of just arguing going on, and then two shots, boom, boom, out of nowhere, and it caught me by surprise because things like this don't usually happen over here. So,
Aaron Goat was working out on a sunny Sunday afternoon in Brookville Park in Rosedale at about 1:45 p.m. when police say a dispute on a nearby basketball court turned violent. A 17-year-old boy was shot in the leg and a 16-year-old was stabbed in the leg, according to police. Both were rushed to Cohen Children's Hospital, where they are in stable condition.
I honestly think it was probably maybe gang-related stuff, most likely, because I come here every single day, and it's mostly safe here, so it was definitely something that was gang-related.
So now it's mostly safe. See, me, I would ask him a third time to get the truth.
Safe here, so it was definitely something that was gang-related.
This park in Brookville Park in Rosedale, it's a gem in the community, quite honestly. And so this is not something that you expect to hear of the community.
Okay, so this is a gem in the community. This is a rare place where violence doesn't happen. And as we know, since 2020, it's spread out. So it probably was a park where, the fellas didn't usually historically come to. Now, because of, 2020, we're everywhere. Now you have shootings here. There, I fixed it for you. Selvina Brooks Powers.
This park in Brookville Park in Rosedale, it's a gem in the community, quite honestly. And so this is not something that you expect to hear of. The community won't stand for this type of violence.
How many times throughout the course of your basketball career, going back to even when you were a kid, have you been called a bitch-ass white boy?
I've been called a bitch-ass white boy a lot. SMID, white boy, white boy, you ain't shit. Look at this punk-ass white boy. Who's got the chump? It's like, white men can't jump. It's like, who's got the chump? And it's like, oh, he can actually play. I mean, I feel like you can relate to that. It's like, it's funny. I don't take any offense to that.
Well, neither do I. I've never taken, even as a 13-year-old guy.
Those two guys were just, it just is what it is. Competing, it's like, in the spirit of competition, and you saw Harold come up to Luka the next game. It was like, it's just part of the game. It's part of the playoffs. Talk shit.
I thought Kenny Smith had the best take on this.
I didn't hear what he said.
He basically said that the reason it's not that big of a deal is because it's not racist, because there's no power in what he said.
Correct.
Whereas him saying that, he's not keeping Luka from doing anything.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas
I also believe
racism is sort of putting one race above the other. I'm going to put barriers in place so that this race can't have the same opportunities I am.
And
well, let me tell you this, man, JJ, man. And, I ain't trying to pick on JJ, man. But, he said some crazy thing, man. Listen, man. At a park, anywhere, if it's some brothers there, their words do have power, man. Don't you for one second think that brother's words don't have power to put one race above the other. if JJ, you 13-year-old JJ, 15-year-old JJ, 16-year-old JJ, whatever, at the park shooting hoops, and some Sun men tell you, hey, man, you got to roll out, man. Some Sun teens pull up and, get in an argument with you and say, hey, man, you need to leave now. Like, now. Like, run. JJ would be hitting that Forrest Gump action, man. Why? Because even though the NBA guys like to be victims and like to hear glacier gliders like, JJ Redick and Kevin Love tell them that they have no power and they're disenfranchised, and that's not true, man. Brothers got a lot of power, especially at basketball courts, to put one race over another, to put you in a box, to put you 6 feet deep, to put you in the hospital. That's a lot of power, man.
It is Wednesday night, and the big story on Action News tonight is breaking news from Spring Garden. Another explosion of gun violence on the streets of Philadelphia. A shooting at the Clementi Rec Center at 18th and Wallace has claimed 2 lives and has left 2 others injured. Action News reporter Bob Brooks is live at the scene. Bob, a brutal night. What are the details?
Jim, a very brutal night. Again, 2 young men have lost their lives to gun violence. Behind me here, you can see the scene still very much so active. We're going to zoom right in. You're going to see those evidence markers. Jim, police say at least 55 bullets were fired right in the park, on the basketball court, in the field behind us. Again, a very violent evening. 2 young men are now dead, 18 and 22 years of age. The scene of the crime, Roberto Clemente Park in the city's Spring Garden section. Police say it was just after 8 o'clock in the evening. Dozens of people were in the park and on the basketball court. When the gunmen showed up, they fired at least 55 bullets.
He basically said that the reason it's not that big of a deal is because it's not racist, because there's no power in what he said.
Correct.
Whereas him saying that, he's not keeping Luka from doing anything.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas
I also believe
racism is sort of putting one race above the other. I'm gonna put barriers in place so that this race can't have the same opportunities I am.
And listen, I don't think he was, but maybe, there's been times in my career where I've been a punk-ass white boy. I mean, like, it just is what it is.
What about a bitch-ass white boy?
But a bitch-ass white boy, I don't know if I've ever taken it that far. But no, this is what, I always think about things in life in general, let alone basketball, like in terms of intent. His intent was not, he wasn't saying anything racist. It wasn't intentional in that way. He was just like, I'm getting the better of you. You called me a flopper earlier. We're in a heated battle. We're winning. I'm busting your ass. That's just what it is. I have no problem with that.
And the reason they have no problem with that, because they've been told in their liberal campuses and in their liberal circles that, some people don't have any power. They don't have the power to do nothing. If a Sun man call you a BAWB on the basketball court, don't worry about it, man. It don't mean that. Don't have any power, man. They gonna get a lot of young glacier glider teens killed, man. Those words have power, man. We're not weak, man. Sun men and Sun teens are not weak. We're very powerful, man. For instance, Kevin Love, JJ Redick, Luka Doncic. When the next time one of these brothers in the NBA, as y'all say it's prevalent, it happens all the time, everywhere you play ball at, but let's just say one of these NBA players calls you a BABW, a BAWB, man. Let's say one of these some men players in the NBA call you a BAWB, right? A BA white boy, right? Call him a BA black boy back and see if he don't run to the media and snitch on you. Whisper it in his ear. Whisper in his ear after he calls you loudly to where somebody mic'd up or the mics can hear it on the sidelines. When he call you a BA white boy, whisper in his ear sometime later on in the game, black boy. I promise you he's going to go run to the media and whine about it and cry. He might even cry, literally cry tears, and get you suspended and get you maybe even not even be able to play in the league ever again. You might have to not be able to play in the league for a couple of years and have to go on an apology tour, and everybody in the league have to do sensitivity training. Does that sound like somebody that don't have no power, man? And then if the same thing happens on the blacktop somewhere or in the rec center somewhere, they're going to shoot you. Or at least beat the brakes off you, and you going to get jumped. What are you talking about? We don't have no power, man. Y'all pasty liberals need to stop saying stupid stuff like that, man.
Surveillance video shows the person in a black hoodie hop up to the fence and fire a barrage of bullets onto a crowded basketball court.
Three together, pum, 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 and then they stop like two more, and they hit two more.
Kids seen sprinting for their lives.
The looks on the kids' face, they was terrified, and they shouldn't have to live like that.
A 16-year-old boy was shot in the foot and a 47-year-old man in the forearm. The NYPD says it happened last night around 7 inside Walton Playground. Police say these two men are responsible. Take a close look. The one in the black hoodie is allegedly the gunman seen on video. The other with a white undershirt is believed by police to be an accomplice.
It's a real danger. I think the police had to cross around more time over here.
Just last week, the nearly $2 million renovated playground reopened. The court is adjacent to a play area for small children. This afternoon, activity again under the eyes of at least 2 NYPD officers.
New details about the innocent young man who was shot in the head and killed during a game.
The gunfire happening soon after school let out at a playground in Brownsville.
Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang live at the scene where New York cops still trying to figure out who did this. Lucy.
Well, that's right. The manhunt is on tonight for the gunman who shot into an open playground behind me and killed a 16-year-old boy who was innocently doing what he loved best, playing basketball. We spoke with his devastated family tonight.
What I see is like my son is not returning.
A father.
Usually this happens. What happens is there's an argument, a guy leaves. And the other people, for some reason, don't take him seriously. And he comes back and shoots up the basketball court. That's what happens in most of these. That's power. Okay? Well, if you get in an argument with a Southern man at a basketball court and you want to get on and talk about his words don't have no power, man. Y'all are crazy, man. These pasty libs are crazy.
Also tonight, we're learning new details about a teenage girl who was shot in the head twice while playing basketball in the Tioga Nicetown section of the city.
A 15-year-old is just the latest young person of the rising gun violence of Philadelphia's on the streets.
Action News reporter Walter Perez is live at that playground where the shooting took place. And Walter, we know police gave you an update earlier this evening, huh?
That's right, Rick and Shari. We also spoke off camera with the family of that 15-year-old who, too distraught to speak on camera, as you'd imagine. They describe her as a great kid who's going to begin her freshman year at West Catholic High School. Tonight, though, they're just hoping she survives.